Yeah. Get comfortable. Let's get comfortable. So yeah, Marcus, DQNQ Fitness, and this is the video where it's gonna take a little bit of a different path from fitness and go to the other side of DQNQ Fitness, which is about mental and mental and emotional well-being. And where we're gonna get there is through me going through my journey that I've been on for the past few years. So, as I revealed in a previous video, I have recently been released from prison. I did 6 years inside, just over 6 years, and I got parole. That's that parole now. Was granted release. So, without going too far into what I did, it was knife crime, and I received an 8.5 year extended determinate sentence, along with a further 2 years, a further 2 years extended for 2.5 years. Um, so yeah, that was in. I got locked up in August 2015. I got sentenced in December 2015, and I got released in September of this year, 2021. So if I just go into it a little bit, obviously I went to prison and I was just blaming the victims, saying that, well, I'm here because of them, like plain and simple. If they didn't tell on me, I wouldn't be here. If they didn't start it, I wouldn't be here. Or what wouldn't have happened? What happened wouldn't have happened. Um, After getting sentenced 4.5 months later, like my son's mum brought my son, and it's when he was leaving, he was crying his eyes out as usual. He was 2 years old at the time, just turned two, and I hadn't seen him for 4.5 months at that time, or around 4 months at that time, and it was heartbreaking. I just thought, whoa, like, so I'm sat in the visits, me and all these rest of these guys, like, I'm crying, like, they're trying to like console me in a sense, like, don't worry about it, yeah, this and that, like, just trying to console. Do you know what I mean? Because they understood obviously where it comes from, but my son was the only son like screaming the place down with his arms outstretched as he'd been taken away by his mum, like leaving. So yeah, so I must have been laid on my bed, and I thought, well, this is a couple of weeks after that. I got sentenced the day after that visit to all that what I just said, and I thought, well, why wouldn't the judge give me that time? Like, what is there on paper to say that I'm anything but what they've got written on paper about me? I mean, this is my second time in prison. It was a second violent offence, pretty serious violent offence, both of them, and I was on license still for the previous one. Um, so what is there to say otherwise? And I didn't know how to. That was just, I guess, the beginning of this journey that I'm talking about. And from there, I stopped like smoking weed, got rid of my phone that I had in there, and that was on like December. And by March, I stopped smoking cigarettes. Then got moved to another prison. That was category B. In the English prison system, it goes category A, which is the highest of security, then it's cat B, and then generally people go to cat C's. Um, it's cat C's when you're serving under 10 years. Um, then cat D, there's a cat D as well, which is an open prison for those that are nearing the end of their sentence. And if you're in a long term, you have to be within, generally it's within 2 years, but there is extended or extenuating circumstances, for want of a better word maybe, that allows those that are serving maybe 2.5, 3 years, depending on which jail it is. I got to Cat D with 2 year 5 months to a particular one. A couple of guys that I know went with 2 year 9, one went with 2 year 10. But the one that was local to here, I couldn't go with more than 2 years, so I had to wait in the jail that I was in if I would go there, but that's further down the line. So yeah, I've gone to the Cat B, and it's just a whole like different ball game. Like, it's calmer and whatnot, but it's like when it pops a lot more. It's a lot more serious when it does kick off, kind of thing. Um, and yeah, so I'm there now, and people are talking about going to this other place. Oh no, sorry, I went on to a course called Resolve, and it's a behavioral course that they send you on when you're in for violence or something. It's like 3 levels of it. The lowest one's TSP, which is Thinking Skills Program. Then there's Resolve, the Resolve program, and then there's Self Change Program, SCP. So Thinking Skills, I think that's like 2 weeks or 6 weeks course, and then Resolve, I think it's a 10-week course. That's the one I did, and SCP, I think that's a 6-month course. So I did Resolve, and they keep giving me these things called check-ins. That's like homework, and it was just a once a week course. I think it was once a week, and give you these check-ins. They say that write down what you a situation that happens, like how you what your thought process was around a situation, or how you felt towards the situation, and I just make it up. I just asked other people that have been in the course, what did you put, and blah blah blah. But there was one time that I must have written something about some feelings, and it just reminded me. It was when I was younger. I used to get promised I'm gonna go to WrestleMania, I'm gonna go to like Disneyland Paris, I'm gonna go to flipping here, whatever, da, da, da. And it come to that day, I've been waiting for this day, come to that day, and nothing would happen. And then it's just, my mum would be like, oh, don't worry, son, this and that, da, 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 da. This is like a 6, 7, 8 year old kid, you know what I mean? She's saying this to us, she's trying to console me and whatnot. But with these feelings that are getting built up inside, she just get like, oh, you don't know what you're on about, oh, this and that. She's like, oh, don't listen, son, you know what I mean? We'll sort something else out, or this and that, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't my mum letting me down, by the way. And then, but she'd get the backlash because obviously she's done there. And I remember like telling my Resolve facilitator or whatever it was, we all were in like there were like 3 women that run the course, and all of us were split into like little mini groups, and we all had like one of these women was like our one-to-one type of person. We had one-to-ones as well. I think it was a group session once a week, and maybe 1 or 2 one-to-ones a week with just us, me and the facilitator, for example, or whatever. I don't know what you'll call it. And yeah, so I relayed this to her, and she's like, "Oh, Marcus, that is brilliant. What we're gonna do with this? Wait, what? So what are you gonna do now?" I'm thinking, well, what you want about? What what are we gonna do now? What do you do with that information? What can you possibly? What are you on about? Do you know what I mean? And she's like a little bit like she seemed like she was so up that I'd like discovered these feelings, and then like when I just like kind of was like, well, no, what do you do? Do you know what I mean? I didn't particularly know what I was feeling. The feeling was coming back. I was getting reconnected to that feeling and that memory, to know that that feeling was from there. And yeah, and just like she's like, But after that, I remember telling my missus on the phone. It's up at night, the phone calls, and yeah. So I'm telling her, it just got me like it was on the back of my mind for ages, for ages, for ages. I'm thinking, what is going on here? Like, what does she mean? Like what? And it was just anyway. Um, some guys that I was having it with, they kept talking about another prison. So I was originally arrested and sent to Hull, HMP Hull. I spent 7 months there, 4.5 months of being there. I got sentenced. Spent another couple more months there because I was categorized as a B cat because I was gonna serve like at least 6 years. I spent at least 6 years before my parole comes up. So double it. That, how we do it over here. That makes it 12 years. That means I'm serving over 10. That means I'm a Cat B prisoner, a high risk prisoner. So I got sent to the Cat B. I went to HMP LOWDHAM GRANGE in Nottingham. And when I'm there, that's the Resolve course I was on. And then these guys are talking about going to Dovegate, which is in the West Midlands, near Stoke or somewhere. And saying, this TC, therapeutic community, blah, blah, it's easy, it's this, it's that, we'll all go. And I'm saying, brother, yeah, the grass ain't always green, bro. I'm good here. And yeah, two tools now. They end up like convincing me. They filled out the form for me. The guys give me his form. One of the main guys, like, he gave me his form. Someone's filled it out for me. Put it in. I'm like, we'll see what happens because you're not automatically accepted. You have to kind of like put your case across, and then they accept you. So I thought, well, whatever, innit? Anyway, on the kiosk, like little computer thing that we use on the wing to like order our food and our credit and stuff like that. You get all your messages on there and you send apps. You don't really do paper apps no more. You do it on this little computerized thing. Yeah, I got this thing called a week commencing, which means you're leaving the prison like within the next 7 days. You don't know when for escape purposes, but you know you're going within the next 7 days. So like kind of wrap up your affairs. You go in. I thought, yeah, I'm going. And for now, I'm gonna leave story time here. So yeah, give you a little understanding of who I am. I'm Marcus, DQNQ Fitness.